Welcome to Hot Jobs with us here at Higher Military. How are you this Tuesday afternoon? It's really lovely to see you all. We had a little hiatus, a little break last week where we took some time to refresh, to change a few bits and pieces, but we are back with renewed vigor and a lot of information to share with you today. If you are unfamiliar with us, I am Lucy. It is lovely to meet you today, and this is Amber, who is with me. We are here to bring some incredible opportunities for transitioning service members, military spouses, and veterans across our nation. Please, before we start, don't forget to check the links in the description where you'll find so many helpful resources and our upcoming events. If you are not aware, Mike Quinn, our CGO, our Chief Growth Officer, works really closely with the USO Transitions team. And every month he delivers a webinar to discuss LinkedIn, to create a LinkedIn profile, and really how to utilize the platform to the best of your ability to really gain networking and to look for and identify opportunities. Equally, we have so many new roles this week. We are very excited to share. So as you are making applications towards those, be sure to check out some of the resources that we have created. The one that Amber and I are most proud of is the one which shows you and demonstrates how to create a really competitive resume. So we wanted to point that one out to you. Equally, we are going to be talking to you today about interview skills. So there are a couple of resources there about interviewing and how to make the most of your interview. So we'll be talking through that in a second. Hey, Amber, how are you?
I'm good, Lucy. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not bad. Are you glad to be back after a week away?
I am. It was weird last week.
It really was. We do this week in, week out. So it was nice to take that pause, to take a moment, but we are really glad to be back today. Hey, friends in the chat today. Kristen, so glad to see you there. Krista, gosh, that's a mouthful. Kristen, Krista, and Olivia, thank you for your support. And if you are out there today, please do drop a comment. We want to know who is listening to us, who is watching us, where you are watching from. If you have any interest in the SkillBridge internship or the CSP, as the Army calls it, or permanent job opportunities, or if, and most importantly, you have a specific question that is burning a hole in your pocket right now, and you just wondered if you could present that to us, we would love to see it. We are here for you. Amber and I work together. We talk to each other all day, every day. We want to give you some of our time. So definitely put that in the comments. We were going to have a bit of a chit chat before we got going, weren't we, today?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we were going to talk about interviewing and how to deliver a great interview. And actually, funnily enough, one of the best people I have ever interviewed is in the chat today, Kristen Savvy. And because she's so cool and so great, she's actually going to be joining us live as a friend of Higher Military's here on LinkedIn Hot Jobs next Tuesday at 2 p.m. So watch out for that. But when it comes to the interview, we really wanted to talk you through the mechanism and the procedure and actually the formula to delivering a really great interview. And naturally, your technical ability and your capability and your experience and the way that you have, or the ability that you have to describe that is 100% essential. But equally, it is about how to deliver that. And we always advise people to research and look at the STAR acronym. Specifically, if you know that you are going to be placed in a situational or behavioral type interview. So the first piece of information I always ask my clients when we are recruiting on their behalf is, what format will your interview take? And that's a really important question to ask as an interviewee, because you want to set yourself up for success and you want to understand exactly what conditions you are going to be put through and put under. Wouldn't you agree, Amber?
Yes, 100%. Interviewing, I think, especially if we're transitioning service members, I think that's probably one of the biggest hurdles to get over, because, you've been in the military, whether it's 4 years or 20 or 30 years. I mean, when is the last time that you interviewed? So really taking the time to look at what the different types of interviews there are and how to answer those questions, what exactly they're looking for, is extremely important.
And that's the first thing. You don't know what you don't know. So if you don't know to ask that question, you wouldn't know that that is even a question to ask. So there are various different types of interviews. The main ones being technical, which is a Q&A kind of session. So that would be for your, like, genuinely, my clients who have technical interviews are the ones that are in IT more, because they've got specific information and experience that they're looking to gain from meeting with you and interviewing you. They want to understand, can you do this? Have you done that? Like, what is your competency level in this? So that is one concept of an interview. The second and third are very similar. One is behavioral, and that is asking about your behaviors. The other one is situational and asking about your situations, but both can be answered using the STAR acronym. So I always kind of put them together. And essentially, you will understand that the STAR acronym, and I will share with you what that is in a second, should be utilized and employed. If you are in an interview situation where they ask you questions like, tell me about a time where, describe a time where, can you share an experience or a situation where? Because what they are looking for is kind of like a very short essay of an answer, but short being the operative word there. So you need to consider that you want to maintain their interest. You want to keep them occupied and on you. You don't want their mind to dwindle, them to look at their emails over here. So you need to capture them in about 2 or 3 minutes. So you've got 2 or 3 minutes to answer that question. And it could be multifaceted. And the best way to operationalize and to answer that is to break the question down. And that's where STAR comes in. Lots of other people use different acronyms and they all kind of acknowledge the same process. So S is situation, T is task, A is, what is A? I can't even remember. Action. Action, and R is result. And I like to put a bit of a cherry on the top of the cake by then saying, and if I was in that situation again, I would do this differently, or I would do this the same. But ultimately, what you are doing is you're breaking down your response to keep you on task, but give them exactly the information that you are looking for. So Amber, do you want to expand a little bit on that?
Yeah, so I will say one thing to keep in mind when you're being asked a STAR question, essentially, is that listen very carefully to the question. Like
100%.
Lucy said, she was specific. She said, tell me about a time when. You want to answer that question very specifically. Do not give general answers and start talking about, in my career, I've done this, this, and this, generalized terms. You want to actually, they're asking you to tell them about a very specific time. And it can be something as small as, like this one project you worked on and this one thing happened and this is what you did. They just want to see how you handle a situation. And a lot of times they want to know how you handle uncomfortable situations, whether it's a clash with a peer or a boss. And so you want to practice. Honestly, I would tell you, you want to practice those answers. You don't want the first time that you answer those questions to be in the interview. So whether you have a friend or, a spouse or a family member, I would absolutely practice those answers, because I know I get extremely nervous if I'm asked a question and I have to answer it on the spot. So I would practice and practice in the mirror too, because facial expressions actually matter as well. Like Lucy said, sometimes they're looking at how you're answering the question, your behavior, your mannerisms. So that's what I would add to that.
There's a couple of other things I would add to it. Kristen, a friend of higher military, she likes to add things in the chat. So make sure you're answering the question, utilizing the skills for the particular job. That is kind of the gold star standard. Mm-hmm. And let me explain a little bit further. So if I said to you, let me go back a step. I have in my career, specifically over the last 3 or so years here at higher military, interviewed a lot of people for recruiting roles, for talent acquisition roles. So those of you out there who are transitioning out of talent acquisition and wanting to go into recruiting or talent acquisition, please take heed here at this point, and everybody else too, but specifically for you guys. Because if I am recruiting a recruiter, I expect them to know the mechanism, to know the formula, and follow it to a T. And actually knowing that the content of the answer kind of is secondary to following this acronym and being able to deliver the perfect formula of an answer. So I perhaps have said to somebody, tell me about a time where you have worked as part of a team and you didn't agree with somebody in your team and you had to come to a point where you negotiated to influence their decision. And I get really excited because Amber might say to me, oh gosh, I've been in that situation so many times. And I'm like, yes, okay, great. We're going to get a response here. And then she'll say, so if I was in that situation, I would do this. And I die a small death inside me because I didn't ask, what would you do if you were in that situation? What I ask is, tell me about a time when you've been in that situation. I want specifics. I want detail. I want you to tell me what your role was, what what the situation was, what the task was, your role, what you actually did, and what was your result. I want an I in this, not like hypotheticals. I would do this, and sometimes I did that. And it is really disheartening when the answers come through like that. So really take accountability and responsibility for delivering a really solid I response, first of all. And second of all, what I tend to do in that situation is to prep for these types. I go through the job description and I look at the roles and responsibilities and I think, what question could they ask me for this responsibility? What question could, so like as an example, team player, they're going to ask you a team playing type one. So I think of situations where I was a team player, where it went wrong, where it went right, or even better, what you can do with the advent of our wonderful GPTs these days, our ChatGPT, Copilot, Google Gemini, is I type in what situational questions would you ask for a program manager? And then it will give you ideas which will spark kind of like, okay, I need to remember this situation, this situation, this situation. So it gives you the ability to think on your feet, because there's nothing worse than knowing that you had to come to a negotiation point with a coworker, but not being able to remember a specific situation as you are asked it in real time. Because you know you have, but you can't quite remember. So that would be my guidance there. And really taking the time to be formulaic, but also very strategic around trying to identify great scenarios that when you deliver them in person, make you sound like you know what you're talking about. Do you have anything more to add, Amber?
No, absolutely. Lucy hit the nail on the head on that one. And like Kristen, was it Kristen who said it, or no, Krista said it? See, look, there's too many K's in the chat.
Yeah.
When you're giving your answer, we know a lot of you came from military teams, military squadrons. Like, we don't want to know what the team did. We don't want to know what the squadron did. This is your time to shine. This is your interview. So you need to speak to what you did, your accomplishments, and be proud of them too, because you're essentially telling the company through the interview, how you work, how you're going to benefit their team, how you're going to fit into this role based off of your past performance, and how you explain how your past performance went in yours and yours alone. So.
And Kristen, that Kay is right. You don't have to be the hero of the situation. When I was interviewed for this role here at Higher Military, I was asked about a time where I disagreed with a coworker and what I had to do to get back to a good working relationship situation with them. And remembering back, it doesn't always lend you in a really good light. I mean, obviously, in that situation, give the sort of overview of the situation, so you're not saying, well, actually, I was a real idiot in this case and I did this. But what they're trying to identify a lot of the time is, rather than ask you what are your weaknesses, they're asking you that same question through a situational question. And so understanding that will give you a better insight into the sorts of responses that they're looking for. Mm-hmm. But we've got so many jobs to share today. So shall we get going?
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me share with you, if you connect and click through to highermilitary.us, you are going to be transported into a new world that you didn't see a week or two ago, because we finally have a whole new back-end system. We are so excited. Amber and I have been just rubbing our hands with glee the last couple of days working on it. And it's going to take you through to our parent company, Tenova LLC's website, but you will still see all of the Higher Military branded stuff. So you can still use our old URL, highermilitary.us, but you will go through to that world and have a different interface. Do take a look at the roles as we are talking today. Be a motivated job seeker. Also know that we are not going to have something for everybody. We do share wave tops in this live, but we have many more opportunities, both SkillBridge, CSP internships on our website, as well as jobs. If you don't see anything for you right now, please take an opportunity to join either our talent pool for jobs or join our talent pool for SkillBridge internships. It tells us that you're out there, you're looking, you want to be briefed, contacted, sent our newest roles as they come through. And it allows us to get in touch with you if we see the perfect finance role for Billy who wants finance in DC. So do join and do register with us, because we then can work with you as new roles come in. So what do we have today? Let me get going in terms of permanent roles. So the first one that I have today is brand new, hot off the press. I added it late last night. It is a graphic designer role. This is working on average 10 to 20 hours a week. So it would be perfect for somebody who is studying right now or who a military spouse, ideal for a military spouse. It's fully flexible. DC Metro is the ideal location. It would be hybrid DC Metro, which means in office, out of office, working from home, or for a great candidate, it can be remote. So let's stick on that remote piece, because everybody in our sphere, Amber, are great candidates, aren't they? So we're looking for a highly skilled and experienced graphic designer to join a dynamic government team on a flexible part-time basis. So you ideally have about 8 years worth of relevant work experience in graphic design and a really strong background in creating really visually compelling newsletters and slide decks using the Adobe Creative Suite. You have to have Adobe experience. Also, you have to have good experience in Microsoft, because you will be creating those slide decks in PowerPoint or creating newsletters through Word. So this role also, in an ideal perfect world, does require an active secret clearance. So if that sounds like you, if that sounds like somebody you know, if you're like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this, remote, part-time, graphic design, please either make an application through our website or drop a comment below, and we will send you the URL to that role after this event. So that's my first role, graphic design, remote or DC Metro. It does ideally require a secret clearance. If you don't have one, don't let that one be a deal breaker for you. We may be able to get you a clearance, but in reality, it will be a lot harder. Second role, we have got an assistant VP role, so assistant vice president of application engineering. This is either based in Charlotte, North Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, or Jersey City, New Jersey. Take your choice, it will be in one of those. This is a hybrid role, 3 days in office, 2 days at home. What we are looking for is somebody to drive cloud-based initiatives at the interface of technology, people, and performance. So you will be working with the cloud, so AWS, and other cloud-based platforms like ECS, PCF, EKS, and Mule. And so you will be assigned tasks by the IT manager for both maintenance and project work. We are looking for 5 years worth of experience in supporting and deploying high availability architecture solutions. And you really need to have a good understanding of application runtime and the container platforms. So that's Assistant Vice President, Application Engineering. Second, we have a Process Excellence Engineer. In either Charlotte, North Carolina, I should know that, or Jersey City, New Jersey. So this one is involved in process design, troubleshooting, process issues, process optimization, analysis, documentation, quality control, automation, and quality assurance. So you will work with multiple teams implementing process improvement initiatives. This role is also hybrid, 3 days a week in office. So we are looking for a process excellence engineer there. We are also looking for a senior business data and senior business data analysis in business intelligence. Gosh, these are tongue twisters. Yeah. So this one is either Charlotte, North Carolina, Farmington, Connecticut, Alpharetta, Georgia, Hartford, Connecticut, or Minneapolis, Minnesota. We are looking for somebody to help identify business intelligence, reporting, and data analysis needs. You need 8 years of business data analysis experience for this role, and you'll be working closely with the business and technical teams to turn data into critical information and knowledge that can be leveraged to make sound business decisions. If this sounds at all like something you could be interested in and you might have the experience for, please do drop us a comment, or you can take a look at the role. It is one of the top ones on our jobs at hiremilitary.us. I have a senior network engineer at Fort Meade, Maryland. So this one requires a secret clearance. It is working on a military program. And we are recruiting a senior network engineer to be responsible for designing, implementing, and maintaining a network infrastructure. So you really need a good, solid understanding of networking and telecoms, as well as the ability to troubleshoot complex issues. You will have a background in IT, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, ideally in networking and telecoms. And the deal breaker on this one is that you have to have solid experience with IPv6, Internet Protocol version 6. So that's Senior Network Engineer, Fort Meade in Maryland. And the last role I have to share today that I'm recruiting for is a senior provisioner working on the UH-60 helicopter program. This is a hybrid role in Huntsville, Alabama. So we are seeking a maintainer, a Black Hawk maintainer, to analyze, coordinate, and develop the provisioning logistical functions for the UH-60 helicopter. This role is located at Redstone Arsenal. You do need to have Black Hawk UH-60 maintainer experience, but this is kind of a hybrid role, in office, technical, outside of office. So they are looking for a boots on the ground expert, subject matter expert who can be in office and share expertise and subject matter expertise and support the mechanisms outside of the office. So that is the senior provisioner UH-60 helicopter program, and that's hybrid in Huntsville, working at Redstone Arsenal. Two of our sponsors today that we haven't mentioned, and I would love to share with you right now, are National Testing Network. They have nationwide opportunities, both in police officers and police officer environment even, and firefighting. So if you've always felt like law enforcement has been in your future, or fighting fires is something you want to do, but you've never quite known how to get there, you can take a look at our website, because we will make a very warm introduction just by virtue of you sharing your name, your telephone number, and your email address. We also need to know your location so we know where to send you. And National Testing Network will be in touch with you in terms of progressing the conversation in either one of those functions. So that's police officer or firefighters nationwide opportunities. And finally, something that I wanted to share with you today is a opportunity to work and own your own franchise in the food service industry. So let me share a little bit more. We have nationwide opportunities to work with a company called GBC Food Services. We are sharing this information on their behalf. They want to recruit directly from the military population. They want us to amplify this opportunity on their behalf. So they are a national food service company that runs the kiosks in local grocery chains across the country. So you walk into a grocery store, you see the deli counter, you see the cut produce. So, you know, your watermelon, your carrots. You also see the sushi counter. They are looking for people to take ownership of those franchises. They are often not actually owned nor run by the grocery store themselves. They are owned by GBC and they are franchises. And you are going to learn and do everything that goes along with being your own boss. No matter what background you come from or what you've done previously, if you have that entrepreneurial spirit, if you want to run your own business, if you want to be hugely successful and ultimately get some great money in your bank account, this really could be the opportunity for you. Even if you're just figuring out what you want to do right now, but you would like to have a conversation, let us make that introduction for you. Let's connect you so that you can have that chat. Equally, if you are looking for a SkillBridge or a CSP internship, and this kind of sounds of interest, or are you like, I want to run my own business, but I don't quite know how to do it, and I don't even know where to start. Utilize this as an opportunity to learn everything from forecasting to budgeting to purchasing to operating statements to training. You name it, they will provide it. So I would love to make an introduction on your behalf to them. If you're interested, connect with me, drop a comment below, take a look at the role on hiremilitary.us, and we can do that for you. Amber, over to you for SkillBridge.
Yay. All right. So I'm going to share SkillBridge, or as Lucy said, CSP roles. So if anybody is wondering what SkillBridge or CSP is, I will explain. So the SkillBridge program is for transitioning service members during their last 6 months of service. So a common question we get is this available for spouses? Is this available for veterans who've already separated? Unfortunately, it's not. SkillBridge only applies to those who are still in service and are separating during their last 180 days of service. So if you are wondering if you're eligible, I definitely suggest you reach out to your transition counselor, your education office, whichever kind of does your counseling for your transition, and find out if it's available to you, what your timeline is, and also if there's any command limitations and or branch limitations, because we know a lot of the branches have different rules for different timelines. And additionally, again, I'm going to share just a few roles that we have. Please take a look at our site. We have a lot of roles on our site for SkillBridge. But if you don't see something on our site that is of interest and you have an idea of a company that you want to work with, we can help you with that as well. And there is a form on our website at the bottom underneath the jobs in the internship link. There's a form to fill out. If you have a company in mind that you want to intern with, we can help you partner with them and bring them under the higher military umbrella. So if you want to learn more about creating your own SkillBridge internship, we'll be happy to share that information with you. Definitely go to our website, fill out the form, and then we will be in touch. So the first role I have is really exciting. I'm super excited for this one. It is a technical support engineer. So this is for all my technical people. This can be either done in San Francisco, New York, Denver, or Boston. So we're recruiting technical support engineers on behalf of Datadog to be located in either California, New York, Colorado, or Massachusetts to join their technical solutions team. So as a team member, you will share technical and product expertise with customers via technical support, demos, and presentations. In order to qualify for this role, you must have a computer science engineering major, or, and this is the great or, a boot camp graduate certificate, and or service member experience. So if you've already been working in the technical field, you have a ton of experience under your belt, not quite there with the degree, that's okay. I want to hear from you. Definitely send me a message. Self-motivated, attention to detail. They would love if you have some programming skills kind of already under your belt, even if it's just stuff you've done on your own. That's perfectly fine. Some Linux experience would be fantastic. This does require you to be able to work a rotating schedule. So that does require some weekend availability. So if that is like an absolute no for you, then this probably isn't the role. Fantastic location options, fantastic SkillBridge opportunity. Definitely send me a message and I will share the link after the live broadcast. The next role that I have, avionics and aircraft mechanics. So we're going to switch it up from IT to our mechanics. I know there are a ton of mechanics out there transitioning. If you desire to stay within the aircraft maintenance world and you want to learn about commercial aircraft maintenance or avionics, definitely this is a job for you. Job Air Group is fantastic. They are a multi-technical aviation company. They specialize in contract labor, aircraft and engine inspection, audit, and aeronautical engineering, and they are a leading provider of aviation maintenance services. So we have positions open in Florida, Missouri, Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma, California, and Washington State. The only thing you need is 3 years experience in military or commercial aviation or avionics. If you have an A&P license, great. You only need 6 months experience with your A&P. So they're looking for both licensed and not licensed, and they will assist you with getting your A&P. So if you are interested in staying in that world, definitely send me a message and I will share that link with you after. And then moving on, my final role I'm going to share with you is I am looking for a quality lab technician. This is with Sherwin-Williams. This is in Columbus, Ohio. This position, essentially, you are in charge of supervising the quality assurance department to ensure that the standards are met, that the production batches are evaluated efficiently. The QC lab technician is also responsible for testing and approval of the different coating products. Really cool role if you want to learn about like how Sherwin-Williams does all the cool paint things that they do. Like I love that story. This role provides solutions to problems in relation to quality and approval. So they're really looking for someone who has 1 year experience at least in quality control in a lab, outside a lab. It's fine. So I'm looking at all those maintenance QA guys out there, gals and ladies. If you have 1 year experience working in manufacturing or distribution facility, that's even better. If you have an associate's degree in chemistry, that would be fantastic. But if chemistry is just like something you're really good at, I still want to hear from you because I think you would still be a great fit for this role. So that is, again, with the Sherwin-Williams Company in Columbus, Ohio, for a quality lab technician. If you have any questions, send me a message. I will gladly share the link with you and answer any questions about SkillBridge that I can. Check out our website, and we have tons more there. So back to you, Lucy.
We have tons more there, and we want to share them with you. So do take a look. Do connect with us if you want to create your own SkillBridge. If you've got a company that you would love to work with, we can make that happen on your behalf. We do that magic. We do that magic all the time. But Amber, thank you so much for joining me. It's always a treat to see you for a solid 30 minutes and to talk to you, with you, and to everybody else here. If you have any other questions for us after this live, if you're watching this after the event, do throw the questions in the comments. We do come back and revisit over the next week or so. But we all hope that you have really safe weeks, especially if you are in the path of this next hurricane that's coming through. And hopefully we shall see you all next Tuesday, where we have Kristen, our special guest, joining us, sharing how she went from zero to absolute hero here on LinkedIn and how she created her network. We're really excited about that. Thank you. See you next week. And I hope you all stay safe and well. Bye-bye.